Hello and welcome back to the Apocalypse. My name is Vormithrax and this is episode number 64 for our Let's Play tutorial for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. And we've been hanging out in our base for a little while now, a few episodes, getting some important things done. We finally got our workshop built, sort of built. We got enough of it done that I think everybody now has a pretty good idea of how to set one of these up. It is variable, this isn't the only way to do it, but I think this gives you enough information for your own playthroughs where you can have some confidence in how to gather the materials and what kind of materials you might need, and also how to get things set up and operational. So by no means, like I said, is this the only method to do it. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can set these things up, and they've got a lot of cool features and functions just depending on how busy you want to get with it. So here's the bad news. So good news, we got it set up. Bad news, I'm planning on tearing it down very soon. So let me explain why. We need to have a chat about our longer term survivability here in our location we're in. So you always want to plan for the future. You've heard me mention in the past about the passing of the seasons and having adequate food supplies and so on, and how you can scavenge out your local area. Well, we've got that situation, but in addition, if I bring the map up, I want to point a few things out. So we're here, and excuse me, we've got the Refugee Center up north. We've pretty well explored a good portion of Braintree and the associated buildings with it, and we've gotten most of the important things building-wise out of Braintree. We've also looted most of the important things in Maynard and these northern towns, as well as we came over to Coventry and hit some of the major buildings over there. So most of the populated centers around us are now pretty well looted out of the really critical items, so gun stores and doctor's offices and so on. So our opportunities for useful loot is much smaller than it has been in the past, and we need to do something about that. So we also have a danger that we've got to deal with, and that danger is in the form of a fungal bloom. I haven't talked about these before. We've passed some of the critters that are coming out of the bloom as we've been driving around, but I haven't actually spoken in detail. So, what am I talking about? Well, here's us, here's the Refugee Center, and right there, that gray T symbol, and I'll go ahead and move the cursor over it. That is a fungal bloom, northeast from Winslow. So, 14 distance from us. Now, in terms of the game world, the lore, and the mythology, this fungal bloom and its effects are one of the most dangerous things to the planet for the long-term reestablishment of humankind as a growing civilization. So I'm not going to talk too much about the lore because I want you to be able to explore that and learn about it, but just take my word for it that this is really bad. It's also bad enough that I am not comfortable trying to go over there and deal with it. Now, in easy game terms, it won't give anything away too much. It's basically a big fungaloid tower that's spewing out walking mushrooms. And these fungaloids are roaming the countryside, and we've passed quite a few as we've driven through the area on our way to other places. I've avoided the fungaloids, but they're just going to keep spawning. They're going to keep spawning, they're going to keep moving out, and they spawn more, and they spawn more, and more, and more. There are other effects that are going to occur that are bad in regards to this, which I'll let you discover, but I'm going to avoid this entirely, and we need to get out of the area. So the longer we spend anywhere near this, and the longer we let our reality bubble, where the game engine actually allows things to change or move in the game world, the worse things are going to get here in this here in this local area. So the popular wisdom for most players in regards to these things is if there's one near you, leave. Later in the game, when you've got plasma weapons and flamethrowers and mini nukes and powered armor and a clean suit and gas mask and so on, and you're really heavily armed and you know what you're doing, you can feel free to go try to take care of that fungal bloom. But for early to mid-game and for newer players, definitely the wisdom is just leave. The game world is infinite. You can just go somewhere else where there's not fungal blooms to deal with. The amount of effort and danger involved in dealing with that is pretty extreme. So it's just going to get worse and worse for us to be in the area with this thing, and our local resources are being depleted because we've scavenged everything useful out of most of these locations. So there's no compelling reason for us to stick around here. So that's kind of in a nutshell what's going on in terms of my mid to long term thinking for the survivability of this character. So Victor here has got some decisions to make, and I've been kind of looking around our base, looking at our vehicles, and trying to make some decisions. And what I think we should do is we should spend some time souping up our luxury RV. We're going to get this thing fixed up, we're going to mod it, we're going to add a whole bunch more solar panels, as many as we can find. We're going to put a bunch more of the charging batteries in there. We're going to add probably another couple of tanks, vehicle tanks for fuel and or water and clean water tanks. We're going to try to put a ram on the front. We're going to beef it up as much as we can in as many different ways as we can. We're going to install our chemistry station. It's already got a kitchenette and a refrigerator installed and running. But we'll put a chemistry station in, we'll put a UPS recharging station in there, we'll tear out seats and tables and replace them with cargo carrying capacity so we can load up as much of our very, very useful items from our base into this RV, and then we're going to take a long trip. And in looking around the map, I think we want to head south-southeast. Down in this area, you can see there's some pretty good-sized towns right next to each other. Plainville and Huntington are fairly good-sized towns. Dartmouth and the area around it, not too shabby, but then even further south, it continues. Sunderland, Dover is a really nice big section, and then a little further east from there, we've got a couple more. So from the map that I've got uncovered so far, from that map that we found, I think that's the best direction to go. The other directions are pretty sparse, pretty few and far between in regards to populated city areas. So I think that's what we're going to do. And if we can happen to find a nice little building type or specific residence in a small town in this area to base out of, and then we'll just make journeys out as necessary to the populated areas. But it'll take some scouting before we can make that decision, and what we'll need to do is get the RV down there with all of our stuff, find a temporary place that we can hole up in, do some initial scouting, try to locate another vehicle that's safer for us to tool around in, and we'll use that to scout out the map and use our binoculars to uncover as much of it as possible before we make a decision where we want to put a quote-unquote final base. So that's my overall long-term plan. Now, how do we get to that point? So before we try to pull up stakes and leave, we want to make sure we're well prepared, and we've got some things we need to get accomplished before that happens. Now, the fungal bloom is not an immediate threat. It's not just going to charge a bunch of fungaloid mushroom warriors down onto us and attack us. It's just going to keep growing worse and worse, and the infections are going to spread outward from that fungal bloom as time goes by. So it's not a quick process. It is a somewhat slow-moving process, but it's inexorable. I mean, it's just going to keep on growing and growing and getting worse and worse, and it can cause us to be infected with a really nasty disease that will kill us and severely hamper us. Antifungal medicine is the only effective way to get rid of the infection once you've contracted it, and I've only got 10 doses of that so far. So of all the veterinary clinics and doctors' offices we've been into, we've only gotten 10 doses of that antifungal treatment. So we've got to be really careful anywhere near there. But for preparation, like I said, we want to fix up our RV, and we're going to do that through a combination of the materials we've already stockpiled, as well as tearing apart this solar car and any other vehicles nearby. For the moment, I'm going to try to leave the technical alone because I still needed to do some running around before we take off in our RV. But we'll eventually end up pulling a bunch off of this. I'm going to pull those cargo carriers out of the back and put those in the RV. We're going to pull the ram off the front, put that on the RV, and a few other possibilities. So pretty much everything's going to get cannibalized in our goal of repairing, fixing up, and souping up this RV into a death wagon that we can travel around in the apocalypse with, and use it as a mobile base. So whether we just keep it as a mobile base and don't even bother setting up an actual land-bound permanent base, we might just continue modding it and putting the necessary tools in it to just work right out of the RV. That's a possibility. But it's not something you want to just go gallivanting around the countryside in. You got to be pretty slow and deliberate in moving with this RV because it's not going to be turning very easily. You don't want to get into a situation where you get stuck between some turrets and a minefield and some charging zombie hulks and so on. So it's pretty fragile. It's not a tank. Excuse me. It's not a tank or an APC. It doesn't have the frame and the hit points to sustain that kind of stuff. So we may actually do some scouting ahead with one vehicle, then run back and grab the RV and pull it forward, and then scout ahead again, do kind of a leapfrog action. I haven't quite decided yet. It'll kind of depend on what our status is after we get things fixed up. But we've got a lot of repairs to make. We need to repair a lot of the different components back up to full status. We've got a lot of installations to do. So in that light, in mind of that, I'd like to get a few things done out in the game world. So I think we've spent enough time here in the base. I want to get out and about and do some fighting and get some important resources to kind of mix things up a bit. I don't want to spend another 3 or 4 episodes just tooling around in the base looking at inventory screens and building stuff. So I'd like to break things up. Some people like the action stuff, some people like the base maintenance stuff and the inventory management, and to try to give everybody a chance to have some fun, I'd like to mix things up on occasion. So we've had our fun in the base. We got our workshop created. I'm very happy about that, and that will make things easier. But let's get out back into the world and do some fighting. So here's my short-term plans. So I'm going to hop into the technical, and we're going to bring our NPC along with us. We're going to run north, and we're going to check out the Refugee Center. The last time I drove by it, there were a bunch of zombies streaming out of the southeast or southwest corner towards me. So I suspect that something has happened in the Refugee Center, whether a zombie got in and bit somebody and it spread, or the fungal bloom over here, maybe some fungaloids managed to get in here and infect the people. I'm not 100% certain, but I just saw that there were a whole bunch of zombies where there weren't any before, and I suspect the whole place has basically been overrun and all the people have been killed. So I'd like to head up there, kill the zombies off if we can, and take a look at the place, see what's happened, and if there's anything there we might be able to use. Secondly, we do need to restock our meat supply, so a run up north towards the ant hill to do another batch of killing ants and butchering the corpses to bring back to get them smoked would be a good thing. And then thirdly, there are actually 2 mansions nearby. I hadn't realized either one of these. I spotted this one while I was reviewing one of the previous video episodes. It's kind of half hidden behind the city name Winslow, but this is a mansion location. It's kind of odd because I don't usually see these right out in the open next to a town like this. And it's also right on top of the fungal bloom. We're not going to that one. I'm not getting anywhere near that fungal bloom tower. So we're going to avoid this one. But a sharp-eyed reader pointed out to me in my Discord comments that over here, buried in this forest area, there's another mansion. Hard to spot. It's a capital M with the exact same color green font as the capital Fs that are used for the forest. So there's a mansion right here. So what we're going to do is skirt around as far as I can that fungal tower, and we're going to head over to this mansion and take a look. So I think the order we're going to do things in is we'll hit the Refugee Center first, take a look at the situation. Depending on what we find there and what the time of day is, then we'll either go straight for the mansion or straight for the ants. I want to get to the ants during the light, during the daylight, so that we can see them and not have a problem avoiding a big scrum like we had the one time. So I would rather hunt ants during the daytime, and I'd rather get to the mansion during the dark time. So depending on what time of day it is when we finish scouting around or dealing with the Refugee Center, we'll make a decision which direction to go. But I'd like to accomplish those 3 things before we come back to base. The reason I'm going to the mansion in particular, it has a few possibilities for particular types of loot. Some mansions will spawn with sets of armor and medieval weaponry in display in the front portico area. In addition, some of the mansions will have huge libraries, and I mean huge, like 4 or 5 times bigger than anything we've seen yet in regards to how many books there might be. I've seen some with 50 books in them. So I want to visit the mansion and see if possibly there is a library there, because we're still missing a few critical books for our own library to learn from and to have the recipes out of. So if possible, I'd like to hit that mansion just to double check. It'll be a fairly quick run through. I don't expect too many zombies of note in there. At our stage now, we can handle any of the normal zombies in a pretty good supply. So that's the goal. Let's go ahead and start working towards that. So to kind of recap where we're at status-wise. Full health. Need to get something to eat and drink and probably sleep before we take off. Our buddy here is also fully healed up, so he's got all of his... I don't know why it's showing these numbers still, but however, he's fully healed up. The sling is gone from his broken arm. It's healed. And I also armed him with an M1A rifle. So I got it loaded for him, handed it to him, and he'll be able to use that in an emergency if I give him the go-ahead to open fire. So he's all set, and I've got the technical vehicle loaded up with materials that I think we'll need for our trip. So I think the only thing I was doing is I needed to grab some food items, but like I said, we're getting pretty low on prepped foods. I don't think I even have any more. I got a tiny amount of smoked meat. We'll grab that. What else can we do here? We've got a ton of cardboard boxes and various types of food like that I try to hold for emergencies. We'll grab some MREs. We shouldn't need a ton because I think we'll find some in the places we're going to go. I'll just grab some random... Oh, there's dehydrated meat, so we can rehydrate some meat if we need to. But I think for now, I'll just make sure we're fully slaked and full before we take off, and we'll have enough on hand for the quick trips that we're going to do. We're not going to be gone all that long, so we should be fine. Alright, so we're hungry and thirsty. Let's go ahead and take care of that immediate problem out of our primary storage of water. And we'll just eat some general food, mostly junk food. Alright, got rid of the hungry status. Let's go take a nap. I want to make sure we're all set because we got a number of places we're going to try to go. We'll wait for him just to make sure he's all set as well in case he needs to sleep. Alright. Okay, so we're full and slaked, we're fully rested. It's 8 o'clock in the evening, so sun's going down, and we'll get to the refugee center in the dark, which is fine, that's not a problem. And then we'll probably head to the manor, just depending on how long we spend there in the refugee center. If it's close to dawn, we'll head up to do the ants instead. So let's head out to our technical. Double check the stats. So we still got 63% gas and 99% battery, so everything's good there, and I've got things loaded into the back, so I think we're all set. So let's just get moving. Alright, so we're going to have to turn the headlights on, zoom out a bit, and crank up the gas, and off we go. Let's zoom in a little further. I think I can turn fast enough at this zoom range. And it's a pretty straightforward trip, straight north. Almost there already. Alright, so I am going to pull right around to the front. Could be a bus coming up here pretty quick. I'll have to go... what is that? 60-liter tank. I'd like that, but we're going to leave it there for now. Alright, I'm going to leave the car right here and we'll hop out and take a look around. Turn off the headlights. Alright. Let's go see what's up. Well, everybody's still alive, so I'm not sure what the deal was with all those zombies that I saw. Let's back out. And I'm going to head around to the southwest corner of the building. That's where I had seen the zombies. Let's take off... I'm wearing the firefighter helmet. Seems like my sight isn't as good as it normally is, but maybe it's just dark because we don't have a moon because of the snow flurries. Alright, see? There's some zombies in here. Alright. Bunch of zombies. We'll let them come to me. Get my buddy involved here. Alright, a few more than I'd like. We'll just keep killing them. Alright, how are you doing? Naturally, you got infected. Alright, apply disinfectant. Whoops. Exit. Talk to him. Use item on. Disinfectant. 6. Alright. He's okay again. So he took a little bit of minor damage. The infection was the only thing that was critical. So he'll pulp the corpses. And let's take a look at items. Some aspirin. Don't care about the rest. Alright, whole bunch of items. Unless there's something of particular note, I'm just going to leave all this stuff. Don't see anything jumping out at me. Alright, so let's go ahead and head inside. So whatever this was, big dormitory area, there were an awful lot of zombies in it. I guess we should probably keep looking around, see what other parts of the building might be. Restrooms, nothing in here. Don't want to break anything open right now. Alright, so this might have been an area I couldn't get into previously because of the locked doors and I didn't feel like picking anything. I think I'm just going to work my way around the exterior, see if there's any other zombies out here. That might be all of them. Yeah, there's the main garage doors. Alright, I think that's probably all of them. I'm gonna declare it job well done that we cleared those out, and we'll just leave the rest here. Or leave the area, that is. Alright. We're just gonna hop back in the technical. Wait for our buddy. Alright. And let's head on over to the mansion area. Still 10 o'clock at night, so a lot of dark hours to go still. I don't like traveling in the dark, especially in the general vicinity of a fungal tower, but I don't have any other choice. We're gonna kind of skim along this direction, just outside the edge of this forested area, then work our way across. I think these are both... oh, nope, that's a minefield that I had spotted sometime in the past, so let's just get moving. I think most of the bushes that we would normally be avoiding... oh, that's a shrub, so I do still need to avoid them. Oh, shock absorber rammed into a shrub. They're a little harder to see here in the wintertime. Alright, so we got that fungal tower directly ahead. I really don't want to mess with those things. My desire is to go check out that mansion, but I just can't chance it. It would be a stupid thing to do. Ah, there's a fungaloid right there. So that's the kind of thing we're trying to avoid. A pale white fungus, one meaty gray stalk supporting a bloom at the top. Spores are periodically expelled from its gills, and a few tendrils extend from the base, allowing mobility and some basic means. And you can't read the rest. So we need to stay away from that. I think just being adjacent to one can get you infected, is my understanding. I've always tended to avoid them. So I don't have direct hand-to-hand knowledge of some of what they might be capable of, but my understanding from doing some basic reading and some previous playthroughs is that just proximity to those spores is what can hurt you. Oops, I don't want to ram into this copter down area, so we're going to aim north a little bit. So you got to be really careful. There's another one, and you can also see right here, fungal bed. So the fungal tower and the fungaloids spread this fungal bed. Basically, it's infecting and converting the ground around the tower, and it's just going to keep spreading and spreading and spreading and get worse and worse. So it can be pretty nasty stuff, and the longer I'm in the area, the worse it's going to get. So we're just going to avoid them for now, get our business done, and get out of here. Alright, crossing the road. See how well we're lined up here. So it's just a bit to our north, so we'll keep heading west and angle north every once in a while, finding clear spots to get through all the shrubs. Yep, another fungaloid spreading the fungal beds. Alright, how we doing? About halfway across this expanse. Alright, bunch of dogs or coyotes. Oh, I'm gonna run over a couple no matter what I do. Alright. We're about as close as we can reasonably expect, so I'm gonna angle. Whoa, we're gonna slow down. Then I'm gonna angle the car, and we're gonna turn around so it's facing the direction we're gonna leave in. Alright, so we'll stop right here and turn off the headlights, stop driving, hop out, and we're going to go ahead and deploy Cartsy and see what I need to grab out of the back here. Turn off the filter. Alright, possibly might need the sledgehammer. I'm trying to think. We're definitely going to take some lockpicks. We'll take the toolbox, the duffel bag, the gas mask in case we do run into a fungaloid. Don't think we'll need the rest of that, and yeah, let's go ahead and take the sledgehammer just in case. Alright, let's head in through the trees and locate this mansion. And I turned safe mode on. Hopefully we can get through all these trees with our cart. Nope. Alright, I think this is, yep, coming up on it right here. So there we go, that's the side of the building. And the front entrance must be on this side, right here. Usually it's in a center space. As you can see from this mansion, the lighter colored M right there is going to be the front entrance. So I could go right through a window. Nope, zombie's going to come through the window for us anyway, so noise is going to be made either way. I'd rather drag my cart in through the front door, because I can't bring it through a window frame without... I guess I could fold it up and bring it in that way. Alright, so... the zombie might not have seen us yet, actually. Yep, he did. Here he comes. Alright, let's let go of the cart. And we'll back up to our friend here so he can have some fun also. Alright. Nothing too exciting there. Smash that window out in case we need a quick getaway. Still going to grab the cart. We're going to work our way around the exterior of the building. That's a lot of windows. You can see mansions are pretty large structures. I believe the mansions have gotten an overhaul that happened right after I set up this game world. I have not updated the experimental version that we're playing with since I started this playthrough, but I think there's now multiple levels and they've changed the layouts of the mansions quite a bit. The old style that I think I've got here is pretty much a randomized grid pattern, so it's just a series of rooms with connecting corridors in a fairly standard grid. So yep, here's the front entrance right there. Alright, so we'll bring our map up. You can see the light colored M right there for the front entrance. And did we get any medieval works on the entry hall here? I'm not seeing any. So we didn't get lucky with any standing medieval armor and weapons. So now we're just going to kind of search through. And I think now that we're inside, I'm going to call the episode to a close right here. This would be a good stopping point, so we'll search this place out. Primarily, I'm just looking for books. Usually you can find them laying around, and then hopefully it's got a big library. Doesn't always, but I'm hopeful, so that's what I'm wishing for. So, hope you're enjoying the series and this episode. As always, do take advantage of the like, comment, and subscribe options. It really does help me to know what you guys think, and that's the best way to let me know. You can also visit my Discord channel and chat with a few of us over there. I'm happy to help with any questions about the game. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like me to do, this is intended to be a tutorial series, so if I have not yet covered some game feature or function or mechanic that you would like more information on, let me know. I'd be happy to try to incorporate it in our playthrough. So, again, that's it for now, and I hope to see you in the next apocalyptic episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.